Music is literally, that's like my crutch. Like when I'm going through things, when it's really bad, I always turn to the mic. The mic is where I feel most natural.
That's fair. Do you produce anything, or do you YouTube beats? What do you do?
YouTube beats, actually.
Just
Or
YouTube beats straight up.
have other people make me beats, you know. There's just one guy named Blake Shepperd that sent me a few beats.
I don't know who that is, but he sounds like a great guy for just giving you beats and stuff.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, a lot of those beats are kind of crappy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck that guy.
Yeah.
You wanna? I actually make beats, so like.
You make beats?
Yeah, if you want, like, I could get you.
Oh, what's your name?
Tobias Harris.
Alright, okay. Shit.
What's the plan for this year? Are you dropping a project?
Yeah, actually, it's either gonna go. I'm either playing on 2 albums or an EP before the album.
So what would be like the distance? Are you gonna do like a 4-song EP and then like wait 5 months?
It would be like maybe 4 to 6 songs for an EP.
Yeah.
Album is gonna be like 10 songs. The distance would probably be like 3 months.
3 months
Yeah,
between them?
yeah.
Wow, I would do at least 5 or 6 for sure.
Did I ask you?
No, but now you know. So like, think about this, man. If you're ever in a situation where somebody's like, "Hey, Blake Shepperd is dropping an EP and then an album right after. What is the estimated distance and time between those two things?" You'd be like, 5 to 6 months. You'll know. Okay, so I just saved your life.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. I could live another day.
Okay, so I want to skip past all the formal bullshit. This is King Lunde. He's a architect of words, a maestro of masters.
I'm a wizard with the lyrics, bro.
Yeah, he's a wizard of the words. He's a like to Milo Earl Sweatshirt type shit. He's just like I don't know who. Somebody said in the vlog, they were like, hey, you know King Lunde. Yeah, like I never know if he's like, oh, it was T. Remember in the vlog she was like, I never know if like, you know, Luke is like talking or like he's rapping, and then like it cuts to like a thing of you and you're like knees capping and least laughing and walking up until I'm not lasting in. Just saying words.
Man, that's music. Okay, so a big thing about music, I feel like now is like with like mainstream stuff, they try to put constraints on music. Music doesn't have any constraints. Music is not bound to one thing. I could sit here and fucking fart in a mic if I wanted to. I could be music if I wanted it to. Music is whatever you make it. Really, everything is subjective.
Use that as a drum hit. I would like make a drum set, and it would be like all just like fart noises, right?
Yeah,
that could be a challenge. I think I'm gonna try that actually, because you could just bring up the frequency on one of the fart sounds and just like shorten it. And you have a hi hat.
Yeah.
All right, lower fart. That's a kick, bro.
Hold on. I'll put my phone on Do Not Disturb.
You might have given me an idea. I'm gonna try to put together a whole beat out of just one sound.
One sound.
One sound. You could give me a sound, I could make a beat out of it.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Give me any sound.
Could sit here and clap my big toe against the hardwood surface. You can make a beat out of that.
Clap your like a velociraptor.
Yeah, bro.
He's like
yeah. I think you can make a beat out of that, right?
I'm gonna sample Jurassic Park, and people. I have 3 days before this goes up, and people can steal my idea. I'm gonna sample Jurassic Park, and I'm gonna go to the scene with the velociraptors and take the tapping noise, use it as a perk on a drum set. Done.
1 billion views instantly.
1 billion. They'll be like, oh, what is that? Oh,
that's wrong.
this man sampled Jurassic Park.
Bro, is that the eighth velociraptor in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro, that's cold.
Have you seen like over time in the past 20 years, dinosaurs have, or like scientists have just made more discoveries and slowly made dinosaurs like less and less fucking appealing?
That is true, man. I have a theory about dinosaurs. I'm not gonna talk about it because I don't want to sound like a crazy person. But yeah, I don't think dinosaurs are what we make them out to be.
I think everybody wants to see you sound like a crazy person.
Bro.
Yeah, what's on your mind?
Bro, I will not speak about it. I'll sound like a crazy person later into this podcast. For the views. To be honest, I'm gonna sound like a crazy person, but I have evidence really to back this up. I don't think so. The Bible talked about dinosaurs, but referred to them as dragons. I honestly think that dinosaurs, we just call them dinosaurs in order to further the theory of evolution. It's just more evidence. Because when you look at things, they really don't line up. If the Bible were to talk about dinosaurs or dragons, and dinosaurs in the theory of evolution were here before mankind even existed, how does that make any sense? If we sat here and we wrote about them.
Well, here's the thing. I think that's interesting actually, because if you look at like, whenever somebody makes like an observation about that, I'm like, okay, but let's like think about like all the translations they had to go through to the Bible.
Yeah.
Like sometimes they like fumble a word, and I'm not saying it didn't say dragons, but I'm saying like the dude that might have wrote the Bible was trying to say, oh, this weird ass thing was walking around, man. Okay, this big ass scaly thing or feathery thing. Now we know, which is ridiculous. And then like after a while, they're like, oh yeah, it was dragons. Like they translated the Bible to the Middle Ages and stuff to like,
Yeah.
that was dragons.
I don't know. I just think it's like, yeah, people are like, oh, bro, dragons are just a myth, bro. It's like, who sits here and just, like, makes that up without even seeing anything? Like, especially, like, how primitive the mindset was back then. Who just sits here and is like, yeah, man, I saw a scaly thing breathing fire, bro. And everyone's like, oh, my God. Wow. That's crazy. Yeah, I don't know. I have a lot of theories about a lot of things. I do think dinosaurs, they could be dinosaurs. I don't know. I just let my mind go off on rambles, tangents. I think anything is possible, to be honest. We could not even be real right now. This could be a simulation. This whole podcast that you're watching, not even real, bro.
I was just talking, when I was doing my photo shoot with Ibrahim last night, we were talking about God and stuff, and he's got a lot of interesting theories, because I was taught the Bible, right? I was taught the Bible growing up, and he was taught the Quran.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of, like, differences in the text of what actually happened. Like, he was trying to say, like, what were you just talking about? What did you just end on?
About dinosaurs?
Yeah. Or after that.
I don't even remember what I said.
You said simulations, right? Yeah. So, we were talking about like existence and stuff like that, and it's like it could be a simulation, but at the same time, what's outside the simulation?
Bro, I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. I think about that a lot, but at the same time, bro, it's just life. I mean, I'm just here, regardless of what it is or where we are. Just make the best of it, enjoy it. Cause I mean,
the onward progression of time is crushing us.
Yeah, bro. There's too many constraints on the minds. Everyone wants to know what's happening instead of actually living in the moment. They're like, oh, bro, what's gonna happen after? Like, what's gonna come, bro? That shit right there. Not focusing on the now. I think you need to focus on all three: the present, the past, the future, but most of all the present, because the present is most important. When you get caught up in things like that, you start losing yourself to them. You start losing your mind to them, your mindset, your emotions. Yeah, it's pretty fucked. What can happen to you when you don't concentrate on the present? I see it every day from people, all the time.
Social media is fucked.
Yeah, bro, social media is fucked.
Like that's such a general statement, but I think that connects into what you're saying, because it feels like everybody's trying to progress towards something, but they're not like worried about right now.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
It's like they want to be something, right? But they're not doing anything right now to get there.
Exactly. They're focused on the next thing consistently. Like the people we have to look up to are people with a number next to their name, and that number like defines something. Everybody knows, like you could just be doing nothing, right? You could like not be notable for anything, but you could tell some girl be like, "Oh yeah, I got 40K on Instagram." all of a sudden, like, because you've been crowdsourced,
Yeah.
or so it seems, crowdsourced, you're more appealing. But that's a pitfall, because really there's a lot of people that are super appealing people, really good people, really talented people that don't have a following, because they're like, it's not really crowdsourcing. There's so much more that goes into like a following.
Remember when I was talking to you about how like there's a lot of constraints on everything?
Yeah.
I think social media really has created those constraints, because it's like, think about it like this, right? When you have people that are making music and stuff like that, it's like, oh, like who do you like? Like what kind of music do you want to make? And they're like, oh, like I want to make like what's gonna get me big. So obviously, like what is out right now, what's getting them big.
I hear
Like,
that all the
yeah,
time.
it's like,
Yeah.
oh, bro, I want to be the next Uzi, bro. I want to be exactly like Uzi. It's like, bro, that right there, that mindset is not going to get you big. It's like, yeah, you can make music that's like Uzi. Not to say it's bad, you know? Like, yeah, it takes a lot of effort and it can sound really good. But it's like, really, at the end of the day, if you're making music like Uzi, I might as well just go listen to Uzi if I want to hear Uzi.
Exactly.
Originality is what gets you popular.
Yeah.
Something that's different that you're putting out there, that's what's going to get you big. It's like look at people like Mario Judah, right? That sits here and makes the type of music that he does. No diss to Mario Judah. He's cool, right? But it's like, it was so original, and like instant after he dropped that song, that got him big, you know? Or you have people like Tyler, the Creator, right? He makes the music that he does. It's very original to him. It's his own style. It's like when you hear him, you know that it's Tyler. That's what gets you big, and also what keeps you in the game. Because there's people fall off all the time, every day, because their music is not original. It sounds like other people, and the people that made the music to begin with, that started it off, are still big. You look at people like Cole, Kendrick, Kanye. Those people are not gonna fall off ever. When you have people like look at Jay-Z. Jay-Z started some shit, and that man is still on today. I mean, like, obviously he's not going to compete, like, with mainstream stuff a lot, but Jay-Z is forever going to be one of the greatest rappers alive.
I think the way I think of it is like a spectrum of what society has agreed is like perfection,
Yeah.
right? And what's different, because that's what gets our attention as humans. Like, you either see something that's like really physically attractive, or something that's just so different. You're like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I think, like, you could look at like models, right?
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, like, Kylie Jenner is at the top of like society expectation,
Yeah.
right? So much to the point where people have like strive to be her, even if they won't say it, but you could tell they're trying to be fucking
Bro,
Kylie Jenner,
I
bro.
hear that all
you know
the
how many
time.
copies there are?
Yeah.
But they will never be as big as her, because she's the original.
Exactly, bro.
But you have other people that are breaking ground as models too, people that are just different, right? For better or for worse, really. And people give them attention. They give them the time of day, because they're like, whoa, what the fuck? This is actually possible. And those people will prosper just as much. So, like, as an artist or a model or whatever, you need to decide. You're like, I could really, like, if I'm making music, I could make music just like Gunna and Young Thug and all them. Yeah, you know what I'm saying, man? Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
I could do that. I could study everything they do, but I will never surpass them, ever,
Yeah.
because I'm studying their game. I'm not studying the game of music. I'm not studying technicality and all that. If you break it down and reverse engineer all the way that way, then you can be like, okay, this is what I want to create, and this is how I'm going to get really good at it.
I feel like inspiration and how you model your music has really intertwined over the couple of years. It's like, you know, artists will be like, oh yeah, like, I don't know, like you said, Young Thug is my inspiration, right? When someone's your inspiration, you get inspired by them. You don't copy what they do, exactly what they do. I think you're supposed to take bits and pieces of them, because that's like what you grew up on, that's what you know. But don't try to be exactly like them. You need to make something true to you. I'm going to sit here and sound like a crazy person now. We're going to go into a tangent.
What? How long have we been rolling? Wow. Okay, 15 minutes? Okay, so we were going on a tangent about how like the way people look at you different after you start doing something.
Oh, man, let me talk about that right now, bro. After the show went up, bro, do you guys know who Cody is?
Cody who?
I don't know. A bunch of people started adding me, and they were like, "Oh yeah, Cody told me to add you." Da 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 da. And then people that had me on Snap before, after they saw the show, they just started treating me different. They're like, "Oh, like, y- yeah, like, oh, you make music? You trying to hang out more, or like, oh, like I really like your music. Do you want to like link up or something?" It's like, bro, weren't you the same person that was over here talking about me before I was making music, or when I wasn't really doing anything the way that I am right now?
Yeah.
It's like, at the end of the day, I am a person. Everyone in this everyone in this world is a person, no matter where you're at in life. We're all people. We not really, I don't want to say idolizing. We need to stop treating these people like gods. Because that's what we treat them like. People look at Trippie Redd and he's like, that's a god. Like, yeah, that man has done a lot. But at the end of the day, he's still a person. There's nothing that he hasn't done that me or you couldn't achieve, or anybody else in this world. It's all mindset. When I was making this album, I came up with this. Well, foremost, the album is called The Art of Relativity. And basically, what I'm going about with this album is that everything is relative and everything is subjective. You need to view things from different angles. I came up with this theory called the steps to a higher power, right? So let's say everyone that you've ever known and everyone in this world is on this big staircase, right?
Yeah.
Everyone wants to get to the top, and the top could be different things for other people, but everyone wants to get to the top, right? And there's different ways to go about that. There's positive ways and there's negative ways, but negative energy is it's the easiest to use and it's the most successful. Like, I could sit here and say the most horrible things about you and start to make you feel like shit, right?
You could try.
Well, like shit that like really hit home. It's gonna make you feel like shit.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's gonna make you feel like less of a person. It's gonna make me start to feel like more of a person. Like, I'm better than you. Like, yeah, like I could say this about this person. I must be doing something better than them. I'm more than them, right? But when you start understanding those things, once you start understanding why the people do those things, and you understand yourself, and you have a firm grasp of the way the world works, when you have a resolve and a will, you start to move past those things. Those constraints don't really have power over you anymore. And you start walking up in a positive manner, and you start walking faster than anybody else. I feel like I've gotten to the top mentally. I'm not to say that I can't exceed where I'm at right now, but mentally I'm comfortable, and I feel like that I understand a lot more than what your average person would. And that might sound very cocky. That might sound like, oh, this dude's just full of himself. I'm not. I have a firm understanding of the world, and I have evidence to back that up.
So I think a lot of people I talk to that are artists that I really like get to know well and I talk to a lot have strong aspects of awareness like I do.
Yeah.
And I think you're definitely one of those people because like we'll perceive things a certain way and we'll be like, oh, of course this is happening because this, you know what I'm saying? We like understand people's reasons for doing certain things. But definitely I think if you look at people in general, everybody's got like a narrower or wider perspective, and that can affect them in bad ways, right? You could be aware as us, and it could affect you negatively because you could be like, "Oh shit." Like my mom, for example, my mom's really aware of everything, and I've talked to her about this. I'm like, "Do you ever think like you don't take risks in life because you're too aware?" And she's like, "Yeah, because like I'm always thinking about all the people around me, you know what I'm saying? But if you get a mix of that awareness and belief in yourself, that's when shit gets dangerous. Because then like dangerous for everybody else. Because that means you're confident in yourself and you know the effect you're having on other people.
Yeah. I think moving through your life like that is a double-edged sword in a sense. People start to fear you, but then people also gravitate towards you, if that makes any sense. Because it's like, yes, like this dude understands, and maybe he can teach me something I don't know. But then other people will be like, that guy's just, I don't want to be around him.
I also got this theory that like you know how like basically everything is like chemical reactions, right?
Yeah.
Like inside our bodies, there's millions of chemical reactions going on. Everything's a chemical reaction, right? So you can actually apply that to people if everybody is their own chemical,
Yeah.
right, in the world. If you choose to react a certain way to something, that affects everybody around you.
Yeah.
And that's how people figured out they can market themselves off of that on social media. You know, we had the clout era where it was like, get a fucking tattoo on your face because people be like, what the fuck? And then they'll be like, that's so cool, or
I've
whatever.
seen that before.
Yeah. Now it's
It's a
like
norm.
it's so normative. Like I remember when I saw 6ix9ine for the first time, I was like, what the fuck? It was like summer 2017 or something. It was like a meme. It said like, this is the final boss of SoundCloud rappers. And I was like, what the? Is this dude real? Like, what? And like so much has happened in like 3 years since then. Like I feel like there's almost a vacuum for like actual things you can do to get people's attention, but I think the only good thing that comes out of that is people value people more.
Yeah.
Like we're so desensitized to everything we've seen on the internet. Like you'll see people like commenting like, I don't even care if this girl has like a fat ass, bro. I don't care. Is she going to like give me a hug? Is she gonna love me, bro? Like it's funny, but it's fucking true. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Nobody cares. No, I mean like people care, but they care to give you a like, and that's it. Okay, it's not long term.
The social media, the system that we have now is really weird. I wanted to go back to what you were saying about chemical reactions too. Like, yeah, I do believe that a lot of things are chemical reactions. It's like, let's take love for an example. Like some people like will try to justify like, oh, like that love that you have for a person is just all in your head. It's a chemical reaction. And we try to treat it like it's really nothing at the same time. After you have those chemical reactions in your brain, you're never the same. And I don't think we should really justify our actions just by chemical reactions. I think that the way the consciousness works, the way that your mind works is far more than what we make them out to be. I think that we don't even have a firm grasp of it. But I do think that, like I said before, we can gain a firm grasp of the world and others and ourselves, our emotions, our resolve. Your resolve, I want to talk about this too. A lot of people don't know what your resolve is. Well, at least resolve to me is what is behind what you say, what gets you out of bed, what follows every action that you have. And then your will is the ability to carry out those things in order to take that energy and put it somewhere else. I think that those things are the two most powerful tools in the world. I think there's 4 things that make you strong: resolve, will, individual ability, and originality. I mean, you can sit here and be a sheep like other people, and people will only view you like that, a bystander, a side character to your own story. And individual ability is the ability to do something if you're able to do it. And then when things go wrong, when the bad things happen, people don't want to take blame for certain things too. Blame is also accepting blame is a powerful tool to have. When you can accept blame truly and change from that and move forward in life, you become something else. I think that you surpass the average everyday human. People need to stop abiding by society's standards, their constraints. It's all a bunch of walls in order to dumb us down, kind of just put us where everyone else is at. Life wants to beat you down and put you where everyone else is at. It sounds messed up, but it's survival of the fittest in a sense. And I don't mean that as in like, like you die, like suicide is okay. What I'm saying is, whether you falter to the world and you're at where everyone is at and you can't fully move to your fullest extent, or you choose to move past those things, conquer those walls, climb over those obstacles, I think that's when you really start living.
I want to talk about how you said, like, everybody's, like, people that are sheep, right? I think that's an interesting concept because you could argue that people that unless you are completely stagnant in the fact that you don't really love, you don't really put a lot of love in the world, or really put a lot of hate in the world,
Yeah,
there's no way to truly be aware of everything you're doing.
it is true. I do think that you need to be aware of everything. Like I said, be aware of your emotions. You need to understand where each emotion comes from in your head. I think that even if it's an insignificant feeling, let's say it's summer, right? You go, ice cream man's around the corner, you get some ice cream, right? It's a very hot day, and you eat the ice cream, and you're like, yeah, that made me feel good. What does that do for your mind? What does that do for your body? How is that affecting you? I think you need to really think about those types of things. Figure out where those things stem from, because once you understand where your emotions come from, life does not hurt you in the way that it could before.